Hello, Oracles. Oracle Tim here from Oracle Investments. Well, we had our CPI data come out today. It came out as expected. And as we had discussed, because it came out expected, the market was basically flat at the end of the day, up about 0.25% for the S&P and the NASDAQ. We had a little bit of a euphoria in the beginning of the day, had some excitement, and it kind of dwindled off over the course of the day. Not a big deal. This is way better news than if we were higher in expectations and then we tanked. So I think this is a good way to start off the euphoric rally going into Q4 earnings. And now tomorrow we do have the producer index coming out and then the jobs report on Friday. So we may see a little bit of turmoil still potentially for the rest of the week. But I think today was the big day with the CPI data coming out really to let people know where inflation is. Now granted, inflation at 7% is not low, but the market seems to have priced in the majority of this. They have accepted interest rates going up for the moment. We'll see how that plays out, but for right now, seems like we have a little bit of clarity, some settling in the market, and we could potentially start to see this run up into Q4 earnings that we had been discussing. And now the 10-year Treasury yield did drop to 1.75 today. That is why the NASDAQ did slightly better than we expected. So coming out of this, it was nice. And we had some really big movers. What happens when the NASDAQ goes green like it does, usually there's individual stocks that do significantly better. Tesla is usually one of them. Tesla ended up 4% up today. Huge day for Tesla. We closed over $1,100. That was amazing. If you guys were following me on Twitter, I'm over there on Oracle Tim 1. And over there I was mentioning every time I saw it bounce, it hit 1100, came down, hit 1100 again, came down, and then we got to 1100 that third time and broke through. More often than not, you will see that happen with patterns in trading. And so that 1100 proved to be a nice resistance level, which now that we're past it and closed above it, means it will act as a nice support for us as well. And now, of course, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay above $1,100, but based on technical analysis and the patterns that usually happen as they do, if we see it hit 1100, it may bounce a couple of times. And if it bounces a third time off of 1100 and does not break down and goes back up, that is a very bullish sign that the stock will keep going up. And so we will see how Tesla trades over the next couple of days to see if we can hold over $1,100. They did announce this evening that their Q4 earnings will be on January 26th at 5:30 Eastern PM, as we had discussed previously. So that is when the earnings call will be. That's when we're going to get the roadmap, all the numbers from Q4, all the numbers from 2021. It's going to be an amazing earnings call. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think between now and then, the only thing holding Tesla back is going to be any macro environment news. I mean, as far as the stock itself goes, we've been getting price target updates, great news about Tesla. We've had them signing deals with Talon mining to secure some nickel. So many great things coming out for Tesla over the last couple of days. So just a great foundation and setup for a euphoric run into Q4 earnings. And now market-wide, we are also expecting a good Q4 earnings. Q4 earnings are where you're going to get all of the sales numbers that came from the holiday season, and all the tech companies should be doing quite well. With inflation being high, that means that revenues should also be high. Obviously, the market takes into account whatever the inflation numbers are to offset that, and that's why a lot of times you'll see the analysts raising their targets in this because they take those things into account. But we should still see some great earnings. My concern with this, and maybe not a concern, but just a little, keep your eye on it type situation is we're going to be running up into Q4 earnings. We're most likely going to see that run up to it, which means that after earnings, we may see a bit of a sell-off. So if you do have some stocks that you're in and they start to run up into earnings, just watch it and protect yourself because, we've seen it in the past. We can have great earnings and the stock sells off. We can have bad earnings and the stock rallies for some random reason. So we don't know how the market's going to play it this time around. I have a feeling we'll see the run up and I have a feeling we'll see a sell off afterwards. So just monitor your own stocks, see how they're playing, And going into the uncertainty of interest rates going up in March, I would just personally, and this is what I'm going to do with my portfolio, is anything that I have a profit in, I will put some stops in place just to protect myself. Because if we do get into a sell-off situation, those stops will end up acting as a cash reserve for myself. Because they may sell off, I'll sell my stock, I'll take my profits. Can the stock run up afterwards? Absolutely. It's a chance I'm taking that I would rather take a profit and miss out on some more upside than end up being in a situation where I'm in the red, and in order for me to free up cash, I have to take a loss. That I definitely don't want. And seeing as no one knows how the market is going to behave, I always err on the side of caution, and I have said before, I like to have my cash reserves. As we're going up into a potential euphoric run, especially with Tesla, I have dwindled my cash reserves down. I was at 12%, I am now at 8%. So I may be buying a little bit more over the next couple of days just to kind of get myself in a good position in some stocks, anticipating a run up, so that when they run up, I will have a good cost basis to maximize my profits before I take them coming out of Q4 earnings. And now one of the questions I do get a lot, because I had the question myself, is if you have a stock that you're potentially going to sell out of after earnings and it runs up into earnings, you're at a profitable place, you're on earnings day, do you sell or do you not sell? It's a question only you can answer for yourself. You know, you gotta ask, is this going to do well out of earnings? And again, nobody knows. Maybe you can take a look and see how other stocks in your sector have been doing after earnings. It's a really hard one to play because sometimes you may have, like, Apple has earnings go first in the week. They do really well. And then Microsoft could be 2 days later, they blow out earnings, but because Apple did well, Microsoft ran up even more into earnings, and then it sells off afterwards. So hard to play that. It's, again, a judgment call you got to make on your own. Sometimes what I do, if I have enough in that stock, maybe I'll sell off half of it before earnings come out, take my profits, and then I'll gamble with the other half. It's usually a situational stock by stock decision that I make. And as we get closer, I will let you guys know what my decisions are for my stocks. I am not a financial advisor. I am just taking, my best guesses at what are going to happen. You've got to make the best decision as to what to do with your own, but I'll share with you guys what I do with mine. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think we're going to see a euphoric rally going into Q4 earnings? And if so, how do you guys normally play your stocks when it comes to earnings? Do you hold them through earnings? Do you sell off beforehand? Let me know. I also do want to mention that we have made it to the big time. We have WhatsApp bots coming out here and commenting on a lot of your comments. So just so you're aware, I do not even have WhatsApp. So there's just a bot out there that scams. So do not call that number. I try to delete them as quickly as I can. Sometimes I miss them. So I apologize for them being there. Nothing we can do about it, but I take it as a good sign because that means we're doing well. So thank you all for helping this channel grow. And I do apologize about this morning. I had my video all made up and ready to go. I was editing it, but I was running late for work and everything was staticky on the video. So I didn't have time to re-record. So I appreciate you all being patient with me and watching the one clip I was able to get out to you guys. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I will be working on that in the future to make sure that I have enough time to edit. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. Again, I am on Twitter at OracleTim1. I will share with you all of the latest Tesla information as well as pertinent stock market news, and I will share all of my trades as I make them on there as well. Otherwise, have yourselves a great night. I'll see you later.